Welcome along to another home game preview, the second home game of this season following hot on the heels of the defeat against Truro on Saturday. So we're diving straight into the Hampton and Richmond squad and seeing what's happened with them and their players and their coaching staff over the summer months. One player that sticks out is Louis Fernandez. He was sold to Eastleigh. Many others had left by mutual consent, including Deadfield, who obviously we saw against St Albans the other weekend. Former Stone Dan Wishart left as well, and a lot of goals to be replaced in Bloomfield and Seymour. Bloomfield left for Torquay and Seymour ended up at Farnborough. So a lot of decent players left from Hampton and Richmond there last season, Nigel.
Exactly that. You know, they've lost a lot of their players, and Bloomfield one is one in particular that would stand out for the Stones fans because he got that hat trick against us in that 5-2, I believe it was, yes. The reverse fixture last season. Obviously, we played them again the last game of the season, as we have the last two things. So obviously the computer fixtures, as I said before, a bit of a blip on them there because we were actually playing them early season for once. But a lot of change at Hampton Richmond this season, and a lot of key players as well. I don't know, we haven't mentioned it, but they've got Julian, the ex-goalkeeper, is now the manager there.
He is indeed. He'd been coaching a lot at the Beverley the couple of seasons beforehand as well, so it's his first role in management as well. Yeah. How do you think he's going to take to it? It's obviously wealth of experience. I think just under 650 appearances.
Oh yeah,
so
exactly that.
Knows the game inside out.
He does indeed. He always had a bit of a rapport with the Stones fans as well. Of course, he was ex-Bromley as well back in the day. Like you say, a wealth of experience, and I think he's well respected in the game. He was instrumental, wasn't he? If you remember, it was George's last game at the Gallagher in that first season. He was the one that got all the Hampton Richmond players together to give him that guard of honour as he went off. A lot of respect for him, I think, really within the game. But it is a tough gig. You mentioned there the players that they've lost. They're all key players as well. Very key players. And they only just missed out on the playoffs last year. So normally any season, even if you retain a lot of your squad, there is a little bit of a hangover from that going into the new season. But to have lost all those major players, it's going to be interesting to see how they do.
We're looking at the players that they have brought in and their lists when I've read through them. Very inexperienced squad, I would say. There's a lot of it that's excelled at a lower step. So it will be a gamble in that respect. And on the flip side of it as well, I think there's only about 4 or 5 players from last season they've retained as well. So it's very much a clearing of the decks at the Beverley, and it's going to be one of those. It's 7th or 21st for a lot of people, I think, isn't it, for them again this season?
Yeah, exactly that. They're in that mix, aren't they? It's like you always say, you've always got to be guarded at this time of season. You always get weird results, don't you? You always do get them sort of like. You never really know. I mean, we've said it in our season preview. We played Taunton last year on Bank Holiday Monday. They got that draw against us here, and that put them like first, second, right up the top of the table. And as the results flatten out and teams find their form, they ended up getting relegated, didn't they, Taunton, towards the end? I know they had a lot of issues with their ground and they had a lot of games out to play, but it just sort of proves that point. You get a lot of strange results. But then again, you can use the Aveley as an example. They wasn't expected to do much last season. New side coming up. Many people had them down for relegation. Come here early season, got that 1-0 win, and just carried that momentum through, and ended up nicking that last playoff spot. So, you can never tell this time of the season. You look at a squad on paper, and it's the old cliche, isn't it? Squads are not played on paper, but looking at it and the players they've brought in and the players they've lost, it does look like it's going to be a tough season for them. So hopefully Stones can be on their game, and hopefully they can get players back that have been injured, or continue the form that they've been showing and get the 3 points there.
Well, we don't look at the squads on paper. We can look at them on a tablet, though, and we can certainly start with the goalkeeping department, which, as I've already mentioned there, Nigel, quite young. Ollie Davies is a youth goalkeeper. He's Ashford born. He's stayed on board with Hampton and Richmond, and Ted Curd is a Chelsea youth who's on loan there as well. So again, you mentioned this off air as well, two 18-year-old goalkeepers to be vying for the number 1 shirt. It's not the best position to be in.
No, but then the caveat of that is, like we've just said, the wealth of experience that Alan Julian can pass on to those goalkeepers. If they have got a little bit of talent, it's a good place for them to be, isn't it? So again, it's just sort of like that. It's not the best place to be in, but for them players, whether they're retained as the season goes on, or whether one of them's going to come in and make that shirt their own, aren't they? Yeah. And you would say, Jack Taylor, which was the first one you say? Ollie Davies. He's been there before, so he's got that working relationship with Julian, and he's obviously going to be somebody that he's worked with in training and that. So he's obviously got faith in him. So hopefully they might be able to push each other. Well, hopefully not so much for the Stones on
after Tuesday.
On Tuesday night, yeah. But a little bit of competition there with two young keepers that have the same ability. It could be good for them, having that sort of like fighting for that number 1 spot. That's certainly what Julian would be hoping for.
So in defence, they've signed Jack Taylor on loan from Sutton. Christian Campbell is a fullback. He's signed on for next season. Jerry Wiltshire has signed on from Hayes and Yedding. Archie Taylor's a 20-year-old who got 26 goal contributions at Westfield last season. A bargain, some might say. Little shopping pun there, sorry. Jordan Cheadle's back again after injury cost him most of last season. Dom Revan also stays after a second half season loan from Barnet last season. And Billy French has signed on from Tunbridge. So again, quite a lot of youth in that back line, but quite a bit of creativity in there as well. So,
yeah, I mean, Cheadle is the name that jumps out there, isn't he? Ex-Dorking. Again, still young though. Although they've been in and around the Dorking setup, and they've obviously come up through the leagues and that. It's they're still of a young age to be a senior pro. Yeah. And the same with Billy French. Billy French, I think he came through the Maidstone Academy, didn't he? So only 23 there, so again he's been at Tunbridge, but he's not a senior pro. But it's going to be sort of like a sink or swim for all of these players, isn't it? It's going to be how they react as well. If they go a goal down early in a game, how do you react from that? You haven't got that experience to fall back on, have you?
Exactly.
They're going to be having to talk to each other. They're going to have a lot of direction, and hopefully Stones can capitalise on that.
So across the midfield for Hampton and Richmond, signings of Alfie Williams, a 21-year-old from Royston Town, Josh Keya, a 20-year-old. He had 21 goal contributions at Bad Shot last season, so clearly not a bad shot in that sense. Michael Atkinson, a 25-year-old, signed from Basingstoke. George Hunt stays at the Beverley from last season, he's 23. Odai Martin Sorondo, who we would have seen at Worthing previously, and probably their best signing, you might argue, in the midfield is their skipper Jake Gray. He's stayed and signed for another year with Hampton and Richmond. So quite a mixed bag of experience and youth there, Nigel, again.
Yeah, exactly that. Jake Gray is a player that, again, has got the experience. Still only 27 there. But he has had, I think he was at Hartlepool, wasn't he, in the Football League, and I think he was Luton as well. So, yeah, he's got the experience, and he's one of their better players from last season. So that's going to help that midfield, isn't it? If but we don't know. We don't know these players. It's all right performing in the lower levels, but can they produce it at a higher level? And like I say, you don't know until you've been put in that situation. I guess from their point of view, it's going to be sink or swim, isn't it? And you're not going to know if you give youth a chance. And who was it? Alan Hansen said, "You never win anything with youngsters."
I thought you were about to say Whitney Houston. Children are our future for a minute there, but
well, there you go. But
much and muchness.
That could be the sort of like one thing again for us to say about this Hampton Richmond team. They are all of the similar age, aren't they? So they're all going to be in it. If you sort of have that underdog mentality and you fight for everything, and that youthfulness that they've got, they're obviously going to be fit but be able to run games and chase and battle for every point. Maybe that's what Alan Julian's sort of like banking on, really.
So in the front line for Hampton and Richmond, 23-year-old Jaden Brissett from Southall. He got 35 goals in 47 appearances last season. Bunmi Babajide, 21-year-old from Carshalton. He got 20 in 37 last season. Alex, bring on the wall, from Dartford. We'll come up against once or twice last season. I always have to when I see his name.
Bring on the wall.
Apologies and no apologies needed. Josh Williams, 29 goal contributions at Whitstable last season. And Gianni Critchlow, 26-year-old, signed from Braintree. Bags of experience for them. And finally, James Roberts from Havant and Waterlooville, 27-year-old forward there. So quite a lot of high-end numbers for their front line there, Nigel.
Yeah, and Critchlow and Roberts are in particular players that we've come across in previous seasons, haven't they? So again, you've lost a lot of goals in that team with Seymour and Bloomfield moving on. But you know they have the numbers. I mean, Wall's probably past his best now. You know, he was very prolific back in the day when Luton got promoted out of the National League, wasn't he, under John Steele and Hakan, evidently. But yeah, again, it's how they gel, isn't it? You know, you just don't know. You know, on paper they've got good numbers. You know, at the top end, they're all the teams at the top end of their league. It's whether they can replicate that form, that goal scoring form, to get the goals that they're going to need to be competitive.
Hampton and Richmond's form in recent weeks and months, of course, right in the thick of it until the last game of the season when they visited the Gallagher and obviously had that untimely 5-1 defeat here with Bentley's rocket, of course. It ended any lingering playoff hopes. They had a 3-1 loss to Hornchurch on the opening day of the season, Hornchurch being the only newly promoted side with a win on opening day. Alan Julian did say after that game that they are a very young group, as we've already alluded to, and we have to learn quickly because it's an unforgiving league. There are things that I saw in the second half that we need to improve on, and that's what our job is to do. So he's under no illusions there, is he, Nigel?
No, that's right, exactly. And you know, if you're putting in that performance at home against a new promoted side, we know that Hornchurch have got the ability. Then, you know, they're probably going to be pushing the playoffs, but it's going to be no easy task coming here to the Gallagher Stadium. It's going to be a packed out Gallagher Stadium as well. Not packed out, but it's going to be a big crowd. Certainly bigger crowd than what any of those players have, or many of those players have been used to in the past. So, you know, he's not wrong when he says they need to learn quickly.
So, previous head-to-head, 7 of the last 11 encounters have ended with the home side being victorious. 4 of those 7 for the Stones. Of course, you have to take into consideration it was a 10-3 aggregate score to the home side last season, as we mentioned, both those 5-2 and 5-1 games. Both sides giving each other a bit of a kicking, Nigel. So do you think there's any evidence from the starts that both sides have had so far that we could see another one-sided game here on Tuesday?
I mean, you never know, do you? It's like I said there, if we get an early goal, we could potentially, you know, especially on a Tuesday night, they're not a full-time side, so whether fitness is going to come into it off the back of Saturday's game, it could be a telling factor. But then at the same time, they could nick an early goal and get something to hang on to and really frustrate the Stones, similar to what we said about Averley at the top of the show there. You know, they came here, got their goal, and just used that really to sort of hang on. Not they weren't hanging on because, you know, it was one of those nights, but they had a game plan and it gives you something to play for, doesn't it? And they took that momentum into their next game. So, you know, it can go one or two ways. That's what we said about early season. You know, there's no sort of like, there's no form to come off of. So you do get these strange results. So it'd certainly give them a boost if they could come away even with a draw from the Gallagher. It'd give Julian something to work with, wouldn't it? So they're going to be up for that and up for the challenge. It's just whether the Stones can be up for the challenge and match that youthful enthusiasm that they'll have.
Definitely. So remember, if you can't make it to the Gallagher on Tuesday night, be sure to tune in to Chris and Darren from 7:30 on Stones Live. You'll see them on the hot take and you'll hear them on the highlights just a few hours after the game goes up online. So, thanks for watching our preview yet again here from the Gallagher. And as always,
Come on, you Stones!
come on, you Stones!